You know the feeling. That alarm goes off, but honestly, your mind was already racing, wasn't it?
Absolutely. Ticking through everything today, tomorrow, next week.
Yeah, the project's piling up, feels impossible. Then there are the bills, worries about family, the world. It just presses down.
You feel it physically, right?
Yeah.
Shoulders tight, jaw clenched, maybe that knot in your stomach.
Totally. And you feel like you're just treading water, trying to keep your head up in this constant flood of pressure.
And somewhere in there's usually this little voice, maybe not even conscious, that says,
Oh, I know that voice. Just get through this.
Right. Survive this week, this month, whatever this crisis is. Then
you can relax.
Yeah.
Then you can take a break, do something fun.
Then you can finally feel joy.
Yeah. But right now, when you're neck deep in that overwhelmed feeling, the idea of finding joy feels, well, honestly, kind of ridiculous.
Laughably out of reach, maybe?
Exactly. Like some fluffy thing for later if you survive the mountain of stress, an impossible luxury.
And that perception, that feeling, it's incredibly common. But the stack of material we've been diving into, it suggests something. Well, something quite different.
Okay.
It suggests that this whole instinct, this idea of postponing joy until the stress magically disappears, that might be where we're getting it fundamentally wrong.
Wrong how?
The core idea weaving through these sources is that seeking out joy isn't the reward you get after you've endured the stress. It's not the prize for survival.
Okay. So what is it then?
It's presented more as a powerful strategy, maybe even the strategy for navigating the stress and overwhelm in the first place.
Wow. Okay, that flips the script entirely. It's not something you get after you cope.
It's something you use to cope. It's not a sign things are finally easy, but actually a vital form of resilience itself.
Right. Resilience.
Yeah.
Okay, so our mission then for this deep dive is to take this stack of material and really unpack how. How can we deliberately find, maybe even create, moments of joy, even when we feel totally buried, using the science, the practical advice in these sources?
Yeah, let's dig into why it's not a luxury, and maybe more importantly, how you actually do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So starting with that feeling, that overwhelm we talked about, the sources really paint a picture, don't they? The racing thoughts like a hamster wheel.
Oh, definitely. The endless to-do list that just seems to regenerate overnight.
And the physical side.
Yeah.
The tension in your shoulders, your stomach, it's draining.
Yeah.
Physically and mentally.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And faced with that, the instinct for so many of us is just hunker down and push through.
Like the blinders on.
Exactly. You postpone anything that feels, extra, not essential to the immediate fire you're fighting. One source gives these really relatable examples.
Like what?
Like pushing through pure exhaustion, ignoring that rising anxiety, or even physical pain because you have to get something done. It mentioned like the person crying in the bathroom stall during a tough project, but then splashing water on their face, straightening up and going right back out there, never asking for help because maybe it feels like weakness, like you can't handle it.
That image hits hard. That feeling that admitting you're struggling, or God forbid, admitting you need a break or something nice, that's failure.
Precisely. And often tangled up in that is this feeling of guilt.
Guilt. How so?
Like you don't deserve joy or even just a break when you're struggling so much. Or maybe even more potent when you know other people, maybe even people you know or just people in the world, are dealing with far worse things.
Right. Who am I to feel good when?
Exactly. So joy becomes this luxury item, something you have to earn, maybe through sheer grit or hard work, or even denying yourself things.
Like pulling all-nighters fueled by caffeine, thinking that's what strength looks like.
Yes. You convince yourself this pushing through is resilience. It's grit, the ultimate sign you're tough.
It really does feel like strength in the moment, doesn't it? Like proof you can take it.
It certainly can. And look, that drive can help you survive tough spots or achieve big things like finishing a degree or succeeding in a really demanding job in the short term. No question. But the sources pose this really crucial question. At what long-term cost? If your body is constantly run down, if your mental health is fragile, if your ability to genuinely connect or feel peace is just gone, is that really holistic resilience?
Or is it just successful endurance? Oof, that's a sharp distinction.
Isn't it? Surviving versus actually maintaining your capacity to thrive.
Right.
And that's where the counter-argument from these sources gets really interesting. They basically say this whole push-through, postpone joy mentality, it might actually be backwards.
Backwards how?
While it feels like the tough, necessary thing to beat stress, it comes with this huge cumulative cost. It leads, almost predictably, to burnout, chronic physical problems, and just overall diminished well-being.
So the very thing we think is helping us cope is actually making the stress worse over time.
That's the argument. The science presented here suggests joy isn't some fluffy, separate state you only get to visit once the stress is magically gone.
It's not the opposite of stress.
No. Instead, it's positioned as a vital, active tool for coping with stress, a mechanism that helps your system process and recover from stress, like in real time. It's fundamentally a form of resilience you can build and access.
Joy is a form of resilience. Okay, now this is where it gets really fascinating for me. If that's true, why? What's the actual science? How does seeking joy help when you're smack in the middle of feeling stressed out?
Well, a key starting point in the sources is making a clear distinction between joy and happiness. One source, Why the Secret to Happiness Might Be Joy, explains this really well.
Okay, joy versus happiness. What's the difference?
Happiness generally is seen as more of a state of being. It's a broader assessment measured over longer periods. Think career satisfaction, relationships, health. It's complex.
Right, like, am I happy with my life overall? That's a big question, sometimes a heavy one.
Exactly. Joy, though, is described as an emotion. It's measured in the moment. It's simpler, more immediate, often really sensory.
Sensory how? Like,
think about the feeling of sun on your face. Pure delight, watching a puppy stumble around, that amazing smell of coffee in the morning, seeing a really stunning sunset, or hearing a piece of music that just hits you right.
Okay. You know, if you feel joy in that specific instant, no deep analysis needed.
Precisely. It's a feeling you can tap into much more easily than trying to gauge your overall life satisfaction.
So joy is the micro moment, the quick hit of positive feeling. And these quick hits, they actually do something physiologically when you're stressed.
Oh, absolutely. When we're stressed, especially chronically, our bodies get flooded with stress hormones, right? Cortisol, epinephrine, the fight or flight stuff.
Yeah, it keeps us alert but wears us out.
Totally. If that system is always on, it puts a huge strain on the body. Exhaustion, inflammation contributes to illness over time. These sources explain that small moments of genuine positive emotion, like joy maybe from laughing hard at something funny or getting lost in play, they actually help your cardiovascular system, other systems, recover from that stress response.
Wow. So it's not just mental. It's physically helping your body take a breather from the stress chemicals.
Exactly. It gives you a crucial, maybe brief, but important break from that constant chemical flood.
That's fascinating. And mentally, what are the effects there?
Huge effects there, too. This is where research like Barbara Fredrickson's comes in, mentioned in the sources. She talks about emotional spirals.
Spirals.
Yeah. When we're stressed or sad, we tend to narrow our focus, right? Maybe withdraw from people, stop doing things we enjoy.
Definitely done that. You feel bad, cancel plans.
And then you feel worse because you cancel plans and feel isolated. That's a classic downward spiral, one negative state feeding another.
A vicious cycle.
Totally. Positive emotions like joy, they're thought to break that negative loop. They can interrupt the downward spiral and, even better, potentially kickstart upward spirals.
Upward spirals. Sounds good.
Yeah. Leading to broader thinking, more creativity, better interactions, which leads to more connection, happiness, well-being over time. That moment of joy can be the tiny spark that shifts the whole trajectory.
So experiencing joy, even a little bit, isn't just fleeting. It can actually pivot your emotional state and build positive momentum.
Exactly. And the impact goes beyond just that immediate feeling. The sources talk about a kind of halo effect of joy.
The halo effect.
Yeah, how it spills over. First, experiencing joy, especially that sensory in-the-moment kind, it pulls you right into the present. Unlike thinking about happiness, which might involve past regrets or future worries.
Joy is now.
Right. It engages your senses, anchors you here, and research suggests people are generally happiest, less anxious when their mind is focused on the present, not wandering off.
Which is the total opposite of being overwhelmed, where your mind is bouncing between a million past mistakes and future what-ifs.
Precisely. Joy is an antidote to that mental scatter. Second, joy broadens our minds. Stress gives us tunnel vision, right? We fixate on the problem.
Yep. Can't see past it.
Positive emotions, like joy, research shows, actually broaden our cognitive scope. We become more flexible thinkers, more open to new ideas, better at seeing alternatives, less likely to sweat the small stuff. One source calls it widening your perceptual aperture.
Like zooming out. Makes the problems look smaller in the grand scheme of things.
Exactly. Gives you perspective. Third, joy attracts others. Emotions are contagious. Think about someone who finds simple delight in things. You kind of want to be around that energy, right?
Totally. It's uplifting.
And those supportive relationships, as the big Harvard study highlighted, are maybe the single biggest factor for long-term happiness. Joy strengthens those bonds. Some studies even hint joy makes people seem more physically attractive.
Okay, now that's a fun bonus. And it helps physical health, too, beyond just the immediate stress recovery.
Yes, absolutely. Studies link regular experiences of joy and other positive emotions with tangible health markers. Lower baseline cortisol.
The stress hormone. Exactly what you need less of when stressed.
Right. Reduced inflammation markers, lower blood pressure. Over time, this could mean reduced risk of chronic diseases, maybe even contribute to longevity.
Wow. So it's actively counteracting the physical damage of stress.
Pretty much. And finally, joy begets more joy. It's part of that upward spiral. When you feel a burst of joy, even small, research suggests you become more tuned in to other positive things around you.
You start noticing more good stuff.
Literally, things you'd have missed when you were stressed and focused only on the problems. It creates this positive feedback loop, like a rose-colored filter, making you more likely to find more joy, which reinforces the feeling, which helps you notice more. You get the idea.
It builds its own positive momentum, a virtuous cycle.
Exactly, and that fuels those upward spirals. If joy makes you more open, healthier, more connected, you naturally find more opportunities, have better interactions, do more things that bring joy. It's powerful. The sources really emphasize people who cultivate joy are more emotionally resilient. They bounce back faster from tough times.
Okay, so let me sum this up. Joy isn't just nice. It's a tool. It helps our bodies recover from stress, physically. It broadens our minds so we're not stuck on problems. It strengthens relationships. It has real health benefits. And it creates positive momentum, making us more resilient and likely to find more joy. That completely blows up the idea of it being a luxury.
It really does. It sounds more like a fundamental necessity for navigating hard times.
And the really good news here, this isn't something you just have to passively wait for. The sources are super clear. Finding and cultivating joy is a skill.
A skill, like learning guitar.
Kind of like building physical fitness. It takes intentionality, effort, and consistent practice.
It's not just a feeling that happens to you. It's something you can actively do and get better at.
Precisely. A big theme is adopting two core ideas. Start small and widen the aperture. Okay, tell me about this. Start small.
When you're stressed, you feel scarcity, right? Not enough time, energy, mental space. That makes you feel like you can't afford joy.
Yeah, I don't have time for that.
Right. The advice is push back on that. Start really small. Can you find 5 minutes, $5 for a tiny treat? Most people can. And the key is the energy boost or perspective shift from that tiny moment can actually create more capacity later.
So stopping work for 5 minutes to, listen to a song you love isn't wasting time.
It's refueling. It's a replenishment strategy, not avoidance.
Got it. And widen the aperture.
That ties back to the science. Stress narrows your focus, makes you fixate, ruminate. Widening the aperture is about intentionally broadening that focus, looking beyond the immediate stressor, being more receptive to your wider environment, your internal state.
Okay. And this connects to, you mentioned microacts and glimmers.
Exactly. One source, talking about the Big Joy Project, uses microacts, small, brief activities shown to boost happiness, low effort, low cost.
Like what kind of things?
We'll get into specifics, but think tiny things. Then there are glimmers, from Deb Dana's work mentioned. These are tiny cues of safety, micro moments of peace, joy, hope that your nervous system registers. They help regulate you when you feel overwhelmed.
So glimmers are things we notice around us. And microacts are things we actively do.
Roughly, yeah. And the crucial point for both, they aren't grand gestures. They're tiny moments, actions, observations. They're often all around us if we just shift our perspective and intentionally look for them or create them. The power is in their accessibility and how they add up.
Okay, spotting the small stuff, recognizing its cumulative power, not waiting for the big vacation or promotion. So what are some specific, actionable strategies the sources suggest for practicing this skill?
Okay, a huge one. Consistently critical, connect with others. Warm, supportive relationships are like bedrock for well-being, a massive buffer against stress.
That Harvard study again, right? Relationships being key.
Exactly. It provides emotional support, practical help, companionship, belonging, all crucial antidotes to the isolation stress brings. So making time for friends, family, not a luxury to cut when stressed, it's fuel.
even when you feel too drained to be good company.
Especially then, reaching out is vital self-care, and the sources suggest being intentional about spending time with positive people.
Why positive specifically?
Because happiness emotions, they're contagious, mirror neurons, social networks. One study cited suggested each happy friend ups your chance of being happy by like 9%.
Wow. So consciously connect with the upbeat people in your life.
Yeah. Even a quick call can be a potent break. And just talking about your problems, even if there's no solution, that act of sharing, feeling heard, releases stress-reducing hormones. Time with loved ones is just incredibly protective.
Okay, connection is vital. What about taking care of ourselves physically? That often goes out the window under stress.
Right. That falls under care for your body and mind basics. Regular physical activity is huge. Exercise releases endorphins, neurotransmitters like dopamine, serotonin, natural mood lifters.
Improves mood, memory, focus.
Exactly. All things stress messes with. And the sources emphasize even small amounts count. A brisk walk has a real effect. No need to train for a marathon unless you want to.
So dancing in the kitchen while dinner cooks counts.
Absolutely. It genuinely makes a difference. And sleep. Getting enough good quality sleep is presented as totally foundational.
Oh yeah, lack of sleep makes everything worse.
Profoundly. Mood, memory, concentration, immune system. Trying to power through stress sleep deprived is just counterproductive. So focusing on the absolute basics, eating reasonably well, aiming for consistent sleep, moving your body regularly. These are essential self-care needs. They help regulate your nervous system, break the stress cycle.
Self-care. That word gets thrown around. Sometimes it sounds like expensive spa days.
The sources give a really clear, practical definition. Self-care is simply any deliberate activity you do with the conscious intention of taking care of your mental, emotional, or physical health.
Okay, intentional.
Yes, it's often overlooked, but it's key for improving mood, reducing anxiety, building a better relationship with yourself and others. And crucially, genuine self-care is not something you force yourself to do or dislike.
It shouldn't feel like another chore.
Exactly. It refuels you, gives you energy, doesn't take it away. And it's not selfish. By refueling your own battery, you actually build the capacity to be there for others, for work, for your community.
Like the oxygen mask on the plane analogy. Put yours on first.
Precisely. One source uses a great visual. Check your battery. Just take a moment. How do you really feel? Great. Okay. Struggling. Meh. Empty. Let that guide your action. Low battery needs rest. Boundaries, higher battery, maybe more involved activities.
That's really helpful. Makes it responsive, not just a checklist.
Yeah, and they offer a holistic view with the 8 areas of self-care. Physical, psychological, emotional, social, financial, spiritual, environmental, professional.
Wow, 8 areas.
It just shows all the dimensions where care might be needed. Financial self-care could be automating a bill payment to reduce worry. Environmental could be tidying your desk.
So it's comprehensive, nurturing your whole self.
Exactly. And a simple tool is the self-care bingo idea. Mention just a list of simple, concrete things. Exercise, spent time in nature, talked with a friend, did a hobby, read for fun, meditated, set a boundary.
Things you can actually do.
Right. The core message repeated is set aside dedicated personal time daily for relaxation, restoration, or fun, without interruption, even when busy. Prioritize it, schedule it. Don't wait for leftover time that never comes.
Okay, basics covered. Connection, body-mind care. What about our surroundings? How do they play into joy?
That brings us to engage with your environment, spending time outside, connecting with nature. Highlight it again and again as profoundly positive for mental well-being. Reduces stress, boosts mood, increases happiness.
Does it have to be deep wilderness? Or does the park down the street work?
Park down the street absolutely works. Sources emphasize small doses, everyday nature, it's accessible. Research shows just being in nature, even looking at green space, can quiet activity in a part of the brain linked to brooding rumination.
Subgenual prefrontal cortex.
That's the one. Quieting that literally helps you feel more carefree, less stuck in negative loops.
Less brooding, more carefree. Sign me up.
Right. And this ties back to widen the aperture. Getting into open space, finding a viewpoint. It physically broadens your perceptual scope, gives your eyes a break from screens, close work, metaphorically encourages your mind to zoom out, makes problems feel less huge.
Like that James Taylor song, Up on the Roof.
Exactly that analogy, gaining perspective by seeing the wider world. All my cares just drift right into space.
Perfect. And if you can't get outside?
Bring nature in. A view of trees, houseplants, nature imagery, even calming nature sounds like rain or bird song. The sources acknowledge quality matters, access isn't equal, but the focus for personal joy is connecting with whatever everyday nature is near you.
So noticing the pattern on a leaf, watching squirrels, tending a plant, just looking out the window, that counts.
Absolutely. Conscious connection, observation, not necessarily a big expedition. Now, shifting inward, strategies for cultivate inner perspective and action, gratitude comes up a lot.
Gratitude seems simple, but hard when stressed.
It's about intentionally shifting perspective from what's lacking or stressful to what you do have, what is good. Making it a regular habit writing, a mental ritual. Sharing it is linked to better health, more energy, less stress and anxiety, better sleep.
Gratitude journaling is popular. Why does writing it down help?
It helps process thoughts, gets them out of your head, trains your mind over time to notice positives you'd otherwise miss. It boosts optimism, sense of autonomy, connects you to your values. Revisiting entries later can be a powerful reminder of good things during hard times.
But it's not about pretending everything's great, right? Not toxic positivity.
No, definitely not. The sources clarify. It's about finding genuine silver linings, appreciating basic needs met, cherishing simple things, not ignoring problems. And it doesn't have to be daily. Mixing it up works too.
Okay, deliberate focus on the positive, flexibly. What else?
Doing kind things for others.
Yeah.
Small, random acts. Making coffee for someone, a genuine compliment, leaving a nice note. It doesn't just help them, it consistently boosts your own happiness too.
That giving is receiving thing.
Totally. Another interesting one, spending money on experiences, not things.
Why experiences over stuff?
Research suggests experiences create longer-lasting positive memories. You relive them, the positive feelings can even grow over time. We tend to get used to new possessions quickly. The thrill fades.
So concert tickets or a meal with a friend brings more lasting joy than a new gadget.
The findings point that way, yeah. Experiences seem to resonate deeper, longer. Also play. Playing a game.
Play, like
Yep.
board games. Tag.
Yeah, play is described as maybe the ultimate opposite of stress. It's often apparently purposeless, done just for enjoyment. It feels counterproductive when you're swamped, but getting lost in play, it helps you forget time, worries, self-consciousness. It's a powerful mental break that genuinely restores resources. Think how absorbed kids get.
Right. That pure present engagement. Need more of that as adults.
We really do. And then there's mindfulness.
Okay, mindfulness.
Yeah.
Big topic. What's the core idea here?
Paying non-judgmental attention to the present moment. It's mental training for self-regulation. The opposite of autopilot or being swept away by worries. Think mindful or mindful. Is your head jammed with distractions or are you present?
And research shows a wandering mind is often an unhappy mind.
Strongly suggests that. Prone to rumination, mindfulness grounds that racing, worrying mind stress creates.
How do you practice it? Just sit and clear your mind.
Not necessarily clear it. The practice is focusing your attention on breath, body sensations, sounds, taste, then noticing when the mind wanders, which it absolutely will, into thoughts, worries, plans. And gently, without judging yourself, bringing it back to your focus.
So the rep is the noticing and returning.
Exactly. That's the workout for your attention muscle, builds the skill over time.
And the benefits are pretty solid, according to the sources.
Very solid. Decades of research cited. Reduce stress, anxiety, rumination. Less negative emotion overall. Better emotional regulation, focus, cognitive flexibility, working memory. Enhanced awareness, resilience. It's shown to help with symptoms of anxiety, depression, chronic pain. It's a robust tool.
And it's not just sitting still, right? Going beyond OM.
Correct. Formal meditation is one way, but you can integrate mindfulness into movement. Yoga, Tai Chi, mindful walking, hiking, gardening, even washing dishes mindfully. Lots of online guides exist.
Turning everyday activities into practice.
Exactly. Other forms mentioned include sensory deprivation, like flotation resting.
Floating in the dark sounds intense.
It's one approach. Research cited shows potential for reducing negative states, increasing positive ones. Conversely, sensory stimulation, like aromatherapy, is also mentioned, lavender being the most studied for calming effects. But there's a caution note.
Ah, right. Allergies, proper use, and pets. Don't stress out the cat trying to de-stress yourself.
Precisely. Technology can help too. Apps like Calm or Headspace offer guided exercises, but crucially,
They're not therapy replacement.
absolutely not. The sources stress this. They're tools for well-being, coping support, not a substitute for professional mental health care if you're facing serious challenges. Very important distinction.
Got it. Tools, not cures. What other inner perspective tips?
Actively keeping things in perspective. Stress magnifies small problems. Step back, ask, will this matter in a week, a month, a year? Writing about stressors also helps gain perspective. Externalizing it
Getting it out of your head makes it seem smaller.
often does. Prioritizing responsibilities helps too. When overwhelmed, break tasks down. Knock out a few small ones first. Gives a sense of accomplishment. Clears mental space.
It gives momentum.
Yeah. And balancing time and energy across life areas, work, family, friends, hobbies, self. Diversify your emotional portfolio so stress in one area doesn't totally sink you.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Makes sense.
And underpinning a lot of this, intention. Setting an intention, finding glimmers, doing micro acts, much easier if you consciously decide to look for them or plan them.
How do you plan for them?
Piggyback on existing habits. Decide, I'll look for one beautiful thing on my commute, or I'll think of 3 gratitudes while brushing my teeth. Having that mental map makes it more likely you'll actually do it amidst the chaos.
So it's moving from hoping for joy to actively planning for it.
Yes, intentionality is the bridge. And all these strategies reinforce that finding joy when stressed is an ongoing practice.
Joy is a practice for life, not just a reaction.
Exactly. And again, these aren't magic cures or therapy replacements. They're tools, accessible tools. The Big Joy Project study mentioned is compelling.
What did they find?
Participants did daily micro acts of joy. Over just 1 week, they reported about a 25% increase in emotional well-being, better coping, less stress, more relationship satisfaction, more hope, optimism, fun.
25% increase from tiny daily actions. That's huge.
It really shows the power of accumulation. They also felt about 27% more like they could impact their own happiness, that sense of agency.
Believing you can actually do something about how you feel.
Right. It underlines that the power is in the intentionality, the consistent practice. Like exercise, the benefits build up but also fade if you stop. You got to keep showing up.
Keep showing up for your joy workout. I like that.
That's a good analogy. And the sources hint this personal joy, this well-being, might even spur people to look outward, contribute to the greater good, connecting personal well-being to our common humanity.
That's beautiful. Finding joy helps you cope, makes you resilient, and maybe even motivates you to make the world a tiny bit better.
And what's so striking is how accessible this stuff is. It's not about eliminating stress, because let's be real, that's often impossible. It's about changing your relationship with stress, building your capacity to navigate it, not just by gritting your teeth, but by weaving moments of vitality, of joy into your stressed life.
So the big message from this deep dive is crystal clear. You don't have to wait for the storm to pass. You don't have to wait until you're less stressed to find joy. Joy isn't the reward after the struggle.
It's your ally, your tool, your resilience builder, right there in the middle of the storm.
We covered so much. Why joy is vital, connection, body-mind basics, nature, inner resources like gratitude and mindfulness, play, perspective.
And the thread through it all. Joy is accessible, often in small, overlooked moments available right now. And it's a skill. It grows stronger with practice.
It's shifting from seeing joy as a maybe someday reward to seeing it as a vital, deliberate practice for navigating life's stresses.
Exactly.
So for you listening, maybe feeling that familiar weight right now, here's a final thought, straight from the core of these sources. Based on everything we've talked about, what's one single tiny thing you heard that you could try, maybe right now, maybe sometime this week, to intentionally bring just one small moment of joy into your day?
Could you look for one glimmer, one tiny bit of beauty or peace on your walk? Could you plan a super quick 5-minute call with that friend who always makes you laugh? Set a 2-minute timer just to sit and notice the sky outside your window. Write down one thing you're genuinely grateful for tonight.
Just pick one tiny step. Don't wait for the stress to vanish. See what happens when you intentionally make space for a moment of joy, when you practice finding a glimmer, especially when you feel overwhelmed. Try it. Let the practice begin.